YouTube, another video. It's been a while. In this one I want to talk about if you're having trouble with your machine not making pressure. There's usually two reasons for that, especially with this X5 and with most of the Magnum series. The Pro X's are a little different, but pretty simple fixes, and we'll get right into it. Alright, there are essentially two things that'll keep this machine from making pressure. The first one is this outlet valve right here. That's a valve. And then the other thing is the intake valve. Yeah, I've already loosened this up just for the sake of making it a little quicker. So what you have in here, in this inlet valve, now before you get taking this thing off, let's see here. So right here is where the ball sits. Down in there, there's a ball, and under that ball is a spring. And you want to be careful not to lose those two, obviously, because they pop out and end up on the floor. But this is this is the intake. The ball and spring that sits down in there, or sits up in there actually, but this is what you don't want to lose. So in this, the spring goes in the bottom, and then the ball goes on top, and then the valve rests against the ball. Basically a check valve, a ball check valve, and this is the intake side of it. This is the prime side, and if that ball gets stuck, they do have a button on here. Right there, and that basically is a pin that manipulates that ball down in there, and that'll loosen it up, and you should be able to get it to prime. Which, as you can see, there's quite a bit of stuff stuck in there, and I clean this thing pretty much, well, fairly often. Obviously I switch jobs a lot in different colors and stuff like that, but I don't always take this thing apart. But that is one reason. If you're having an issue with it not making pressure, this ball may be stuck, and you may have to take this thing apart. If it's full of paint, it's a bit messy. Obviously you'd want to try and clean it out first, but so that's the first thing that can go wrong. And then the second is this outlet valve. Now it's basically the same thing. It's a ball check valve. It won't allow paint to go back into the pump after it comes out, after the piston pushes it forward. I'll show you that here. So here's the valve. You can see in there, if I get this thing to focus, there's a tiny spring and a ball. It doesn't want to focus, of course. And there's the ball. And that spring, which is on the left in there, I don't know if you can see it or not. The spring's on the left, that pushes the ball to the right. So after paint comes in from the right side of this valve, it goes into the hose, and then that ball gets pushed back to seal it. And I've had a piece of sand or old chunk of paint stop that ball from moving, and that'll keep you from making pressure. It'll also look like this. So the hose jumps when you're not pulling the trigger or anything, it's just running, but the hose is jumping like it's trying to make pressure. It's this little ball in here is clogged up. So that's the way to tell the difference between the two problems. Is if the prime valve is stuck, it'll just try to prime, it won't be making pressure, it'll just keep trying to prime, and it'll never prime. You can pull this tube out and see if anything's coming out of it. If nothing's coming out of that, you know it's that prime valve. If your hose is jumping and it looks like it's trying to make pressure, but it doesn't, it's this valve right here. Alright guys, I hope that helped you out. Hit that subscribe button for me, and we'll see you in the next one.